We are here at GDC Online in Austin. I'm Carey Martell, the RPG Fanatic. We're here at Bryan Davies of wargaming.net. It's a Russian developer of MMORPGs. You guys are developed World of Tanks, and now you've got World of Planes.
World of Warplanes, yes.
World of Warplanes.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this new title?
So World of Warplanes will basically go along the same lines as World of Tanks. It's going to be that era, 1930s, 1960s, from biplanes to the invention of the jet. You're not going to see MiGs and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to be the start of the jet age. Golden age of aeronautics. You know, in 20 years, they made more progress than they had in the last 100. And it's going to be very much the same style as World of Tanks, where it is going to be very hardcore and very model realistic, but it's not a flight simulator and it's not a true action game. It's the happy medium, just like World of Tanks. And if you've played World of Tanks, you're going to see how easy it is to use World of Warplanes because we're using the similar stuff. You know, we're using the same soup. We're just adding a little bit of a different ingredient.
So, are there any unique mechanics that are unique to this title that people have not seen in World of Tanks yet?
Well, World of Tanks is very much armored warfare and strategy. So you can take a few hits and still come out dominant. You want to hide behind rocks or use bushes as cover and stop. Well, with planes, you can't do that. Planes are very light, agile, quick, low armors, because the heavy armors, you're playing slow. Someone just do loops around you and shoot the hell out of you, and honestly, you don't want that. So, the play style is much faster, quicker, twitchier, more like a first-person shooter, less strategy, and more, try not to get shot.
So it's like a first-person shooter, but you have a 360-degree radius all around you.
Right.
And it's dogfights.
Right.
That
it is
sounds
dogfights.
Awesome.
But you can zoom in and have a look from the cockpit. You won't have a cockpit view as far as the controls, but you can zoom it in so that you're only in, say, the cockpit kind of mode. That's your visualization.
What gave you guys the idea to move from the World of Tanks to the World of Warplanes?
Well, it's something that's always been planned to make a trilogy. The company has always been doing war games, which is why our company's called Wargaming. They were a developer for 13 years. They made Order of War, things like that. They've always been in strategy military games. So this is just part of what they know very well. They became a publisher about a year ago, so a developer and publisher. So we not only publish the titles, but we develop our own titles. And the plan was to make a trilogy of World War II, World War I kind of battles scenarios: tanks, planes, and battleships.
And now you're doing battleships next.
Battleships are the next one, yeah.
And what's going to be really unique about that, the mechanic-wise, that's not in World of Tanks and isn't in World of Warplanes?
Well, there's not too much information you can share in battleships right now, but with the obvious, battleships are on the ocean. It is a bit more strategy. You have a lot more firepower, so your strategy does come into play there. You don't want to get sunk. You're going to have the fast ships, you're going to have the big battle cruisers, you're going to have the medium. So it's going to be the same, but it's on the ocean. So it's more like tanks on the ocean with a lot more firepower.
Now, I remember when I was a kid, there was a game that they had for the personal computer, most like tanks like that. It's called Silent Service. Did you guys ever play that? Are you familiar with it at all?
Yeah, we're familiar with them all. And it's
we're going to see like a submarine style of battle.
No, not so much submarines. When you add submarines, you start to get into a different type of gameplay. Because it is team-based, and both World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, and battleships are going to be the 15 versus 15. If you put, submarines and such like that in, and the other team doesn't have a sub-killer, suddenly their ships are going to start sinking. Game over. Not very fun. And then it also adds a depth below, and that's just, we don't want to go that far with it yet. I'm not saying we ever won't, because in MMO there are living games, they breathe, they evolve, they grow. They can be added to, taken away. So it's nice. But at this moment, submarines weren't an integral part of this military action. They really just kind of shot merchant vessels. So we're not really getting input them right now.
Okay, that's kind of depressing, but I'm still excited because like with warships, you have really huge cannons, and there's a lot of that you can do with that. And is with the targeting of the cannons, because I know I was in the military for a bit, there's like a radius,
right?
Because it loops down. Is that going to be part of the physics of the battle system?
You know, we try to keep it as realistic as possible, with still being able to keep it fun. So yeah, you know, and we're still looking. It's very early in development. You know, we have another year before we're going to even see probably a beta. But yeah, it's, you know, we definitely keep all those things in mind, and want to make it as realistic as possible without making it simulation. Will
there be any aircraft carriers?
There is aircraft carriers.
Oh, that's cool.
So the aircraft carriers are going to be more like artillery in World of Tanks, where if an enemy gets spotted, you send your aircrafts, which are AI controlled, out to attack. Now, if there's going to be a radius they're in, if they move outside that radius where you told them to go, they're of course going to get there and be like, oh wait, he's not here, let's go back. But unlike, you know, artillery, you know, if they're not standing exactly where you shot, they're not going to get hit. So you're going to have a bit of a radius.
Very excited to hear about that. So let's move back to the World of Tanks. You guys have now a retail boxed version of it.
Yes.
Coming out.
Yeah, we have a retail version in stores.
You have it in your hand.
Oh, there it is. So we have a retail version in stores. It's $19.99. It has a $30 value. So anyone that's really interested in trying to get into the game, you know, go plunk down $20 at Walmart, GameStop, wherever you might find games, and get $30 worth of value. Get a T1 tank, a week's worth of premium, and really be able to kind of start with, you know, a little extra.
Now, World of Tanks is a free-to-play game, so the advantage of purchasing the box is because they get a $30 value of items that they could otherwise buy in the store for less.
Correct. So yeah, if you were to buy it online, it would be, you know, it'd be $30. So it's you know, it's basically the box is $20. We give you a $30 value, so you're saving $10, which is a good amount, and you know, it's fun. But if you want to download it for free and just play the free part, you know, we're more than happy. You know, we encourage that also. But it's we think that, you know, offering this box for people who are new players really will help them get the mechanics and understand the game. And honestly, you know, even when the $30 runs out, you can continue playing without paying because it is free. So
that's really cool. How successful has World of Tanks been in North America? I know in Russia it's been really successful, but in North America, like an average of how many people are playing currently?
On average, you can find per day probably between 10 and 17,000 people, 10, 17 online every day. It grows more on the weekends. And it's currently continually to grow because you know, it's been a slow introduction here. They've had a little longer leeway in Russia, but it's really catching on with people. People really seem to like it, and we're doing our efforts to make sure that everyone knows about it.
When can we expect to see World of Warplanes being released publicly?
So World of Warplanes, we should see the beta by the end of this year, closed beta by the end of the year. So open beta Q2 of next year, Q3 possibly, depending on, you know, how we decide the game is moving along. And as you know, we've discussed in many times, is, you know, we have World of Tanks, it's doing well, people are enjoying it. We want to make sure that we release a game that is good or better than what we have now. So we're not going to release anything until it's ready.
That's a good tactic to have. Thank you so much for this interview, sir.
Pleasure. Thank you.